Hey metalheads, you like tattoos? Of course you do. If you're in the Louisville, Kentucky area, come on over the bridge to Clarksville, Indiana, and get you some ink done at Ageless Art. If ink isn't your thing, they have a piercing studio as well. Visit agelessartclarksville.com to see some frequently asked questions, meet the staff. The shop is open Monday through Thursday, 12 to 8 p.m., Saturdays, 12 to 10 p.m., and Sundays, 12 to 6 p.m., all appointment-only spots. You can set up your appointments by phone at 812-283-1793 or email agelessarttattooandpiercing@gmail.com and someone will get you set up for your first or your next tattoo or piercing.
Hey, it's Jeff McNichol down here at Mom's Music, 1900 Melwood Avenue. I was just thinking, when I was a kid, the magic was at Frankfort Avenue, the Mom's Music at Frankfort Avenue, and I used to beg people to get a ride down there just to hang out with the guys and see all the cool gear. Now that I'm the owner of this store, it's like a dream come true. We're recreating the magic with the vibe that we used to have at the old store. We're carrying all the gear that you're going to possibly want. We're giving you the outstanding service and personal attention that you deserve. Yeah, so we've got the great guitar shop here. We're carrying USA Fender, USA Gibson, Paul Reed Smith, Gretsch, Jackson, Charvel, anything you could possibly want, we're going to have it for you. Mom's is and always will be Louisville's music store.
Thank you for tuning into the Metal Forge. I am Mark Jackson and I'm your host. The premise of the show is pretty simple. Awesome interviews and awesome music. If you want to contact me, hit me up at metalforgeradio@gmail.com or visit the website metalforgeradio.com. And now let's get this show on the road. Thank you all for tuning in to this week's episode of the Metal Forge. My name is Mark Jackson and I'm your host. Thank you all so much for tuning in. It's been an interesting, crazy week. On Monday, I tested positive for COVID, and I've been in pain ever since, and it sucks. But the show always must go on, so I'm going to keep this super short and super sweet. Today, I have Casket Slime from Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. Super rad, horror-themed metal. It's awesome. I also have, because it is spooky season, Beth Dunn from Harlots and Hellions and Aaron Fritsch from Lit as F Promotions, who's promoting the Babes of Metal 4 show at Portal in Louisville, Kentucky. So stay tuned. Like I said, this is a long one. Down below there are links to the sponsors, and without you guys supporting them, they can't support the Metal Forge either. And I am so grateful that you all do help these businesses. Whether you're listening to their podcast, you're buying instruments from them, you're going and getting tattoos, you're going to the Discogs page. Thank you all so much, and continue to please support all of these guys. You know, Ageless Art, Tattoo and Piercing, Mom's Music, Maxwell's House of Music, Better Days Records, Unchained Tapes, Mercenary Press, The Wrestling Steve Show, The Night Demon Heavy Metal Podcast, the It's Gonna Get Weird Podcast. Keep supporting those guys, because every bit helps us at the Metal Forge, and it helps them too. Also, making sure you all click on the Spotify playlists as well. You get to hear all of the previous bands that have been on the show, and you'll be supporting those people as well too. Thank you all. So let's listen to some Casket Slime here. This is Apocalyptic Dawn.
Entertain. feature presentation.
All right, metalheads. I am being joined with Freddy Rewind from Casket Slime, all the way in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. Dude, what is going on, man?
I'm just trying to live through the pandemic, you know? I'm just trying to get through this shit like everybody else.
Right? It's been fucking crazy. I mean, I've got friends in Australia who have been like 120 days locked down again. And it's like fucked up.
Damn, man. That's crazy.
Yeah.
They were pretty close to being open too. So
yeah, well, not only were they like close to being open, they were open for a while, but like you had to like quarantine for like 3 weeks before even going to the country.
Yeah.
So that,
unbelievable.
Yeah, that's insane that all of a sudden they started getting high numbers again. Which hopefully you haven't contracted COVID or anyone close to you hasn't. So
no, I live out in the sticks. Like I live in the middle of nowhere, so that's basically why we have so many releases at this point. Because I basically do nothing but watch horror films in my basement and just record death metal this whole time.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, that is insanely awesome. So I do consult the Metal Archives, the Encyclopedia Metallium. If you've ever seen like Loudwire's Wikipedia Fact or Fiction, or is that Metal Injection? Somebody who does Wikipedia Fact or Fiction. This is the same thing, because some of this is really interesting, because this has your all's active dates from 1998 to present.
Yeah.
I mean, is that accurate? 1998?
Unfortunately, it's not accurate. I personally did that because, you know, it's that whole trend right now of like OSD Abbott. I just thought like if we wanted to be like the most like OG, like the kings of this shit, we had to be from like 1990s at least.
Right.
So I just thought they're not going to fact check that, and I just changed it to 1998.
Dude, you would really be surprised, because they've messed up some stuff that I'm personally a part of. And they're like, do you have the proof? I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? I am the proof.
Oh my God. I've done that. I've updated some pages on there and I've just typed into like the reasons box, like I'm him. Like that's me.
And they're like, do you have the again? Sometimes I don't get it because their rules are absolutely ridiculous sometimes.
Yeah, it's weird. There's like a bunch of like elitist nerds running that website.
And there's so many bands. I mean, you talk about like doing the Bandcamp thing where you can hit the shuffle button and you see all the similar artists to what you're listening to. This is also the same way. I think there's over 1 million entries or some shit like that of just bands. And that's insane. That's just
it's insane how many of them have like the same name too, though. Like if you type in like something like super generic, like Revenge or something, there's like 8 bands from like 100 different countries that have like the same name.
Well, Overload, for example, my band, that's one as well because it's an extremely common name. And had I known it when, 15 years ago when I chose this, that I probably wouldn't have done it because now, like, when I look up like the metrics on like Spotify and iTunes and shit like that, I get stupid crap on there like a playlist from India that's called Overload, and they're like, "Oh, you had 47,000 spins this week," and then you look through the songs and none of them are your song.
Yeah, dude. That's crazy.
So it's like
the case that it's just got to be like Highlander. There can only be one. You just got to be the best of them all.
Right. Absolutely. It's insanity is all I can say it is. I mean, there's not enough good single word names left for people to pick. It's always like you said, like Revenge or Riot, or shit like that. There's too many of them. So about Casket Slime, tell us how this started.
It started because me and Jason were in a couple other bands together, and we just we get drunk in the jam space and we just kind of like shoot the shit, and like sometimes ideas are like born and they get carried out, and sometimes like it's just two drunk dudes talking. So Casket Slime was kind of like one of those ideas where it was like we could totally make this band, like we could do it really quickly and it would be like really sick. And so we just started, and then like 2 weeks later we had like our first demo made, and we had the logo. We got it from this really awesome chick in like South America. We only paid like $80 for it. She did all of that detail into like the lettering and stuff, like in Pachico. And yeah, it was like, it just like was born out of drunkenness, and it was a thing in like 2 weeks. And like, it wasn't a short time after that we had started like writing and recording They Sleep, We Creep, so it happened pretty quickly.
Absolutely.
Out of nothing.
It's interesting because you do bring up the logo with the design and everything, and it is extremely detailed.
Yeah,
and it's a total old school logo. But you mentioned you paid like $80 for it, which the exchange rate is, down there is so insane. 'Cause it'd be like $8,000 or something for them.
Oh yeah, dude. I did like I personally was like, at one point I was like looking into it. I was like, how much is $80 worth like in like Indonesian coinage? And it's like a fair amount. I mean, obviously it's going to be if you're paying like, cause she was charging us like in USD as well. So she was probably making a killing off that. And like, that's sick for them, dude. They like, I don't know how many like specifically from like Indonesia and like South Asian countries, like, death metal artists there are on Instagram. And like, I'm sure it's making them all like sick money. I hope.
It definitely is. And there's not like a day that goes past that somebody doesn't add the Metal Forge page on there, and are like, "Dude, I love the page. Would you like some artwork?" I'm like, "I'm good, but I'll let you know when I do."
Yeah.
Or I'll pass along somebody that I know would be interested.
100%.
That is
100%.
like that is the beauty and kind of downfall to the internet these days is everybody knows everybody. So that's the beautiful thing about it, because I think it's broken down those walls of local scenes.
Mhm.
Yeah, everybody has their local deal. But with the internet, unless we were tape trading still to this day or CD trading, I probably wouldn't have heard of you guys.
100%. We probably wouldn't even be a band, honestly, because like so much of our sound like relies on like free software and like just like easy to use like tools and stuff like that. Like even Bandcamp and shit. Like I couldn't imagine like even being a musician. I mean, I'm sure it would have been like more interesting back then because the music industry was like a lot more like put together than it is now. But like the freedom of creativity is like unlimited at this point in time. It's amazing.
Well, definitely. And beforehand, 20 and 30 and 40 and 50 plus years ago when the major organizations and the record labels were together, you had a lot of subsidiary labels and shit like that, but you were pretty much locked in to where you were. Like if you were signed to Atlantic Records, you couldn't do shit outside of Atlantic Records. Today, it's all different. You could be signed to Shadow Kingdom Records for your current band, but do a side project for High Roller or somebody else and it not conflict with anybody.
Yeah.
Which is super cool.
Yeah,
too.
true. Oh, 100%.
So you've got Rewind or Die, which was the demo. Then you've got a split, Rotten Brain and Casket Slime. And then you have 3 full lengths, 2 of which came out in 2020. And the newest, which is Enter the Casket, which that just came out back in August.
Sure did, yeah.
And that's insane. That's 15 songs.
Yeah, it's a lot of material. Like, half it was written by Jason, half it was written by me.
Right on. I love some of the names on here, like Hillbilly Murder Shack.
Yeah.
It's just Gemini Killer, cool. Tomb of the Damned, Clean Up Aisle 666. Yes, that's fucking rad as shit.
Yeah, dude.
I mean,
yeah, it's all horror movies,
Really? Like,
oh yeah, it's all horror films.
So they're named after horror films.
Yeah, 100%. Like Hillbilly Murder Shack, that's Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Okay.
I see. 666, that's Intruder.
Okay. I see what you're doing here. Oh, I get it now. Okay, so they're not like the actual film name. Because like I said, if there was a film called Hillbilly Murder Shack, I want to fucking own it.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, you're totally right. Someone should steal that.
Right. Hey everybody, let me tell you about the new sponsor to the Metal Forge, Unchained Tapes. They're an independent Pennsylvania tape label. They focus on extreme metal and punk with a killer approach to the tape scene. Visit their web store at unchainedtapes.bigcartel.com now to get your fill of tapes. And for being a Metal Forge listener, enter the code METALFORGE10 at checkout to get a 10% discount on your total purchase. That's unchainedtapes.bigcartel.com. Hey, let me tell you guys about Mercenary Press. They're an independent London label and distributor of all things metal. Mercenary Press delivers the goods from their own independent zine. Trust me, you're going to want to get in on that. To distributing various bands from all over the world, including Cramp from Spain and Sadistic Force from Texas. Visit mercenarypress.bigcartel.com to find out what all they have in stock and what you can order. And for Metal Forge listeners, enter code METALFORGE to receive a discount on your total purchase at mercenarypress.bigcartel.com. Check it out now. So before we actually started recording here, I had asked you about live performance. And with it just being the two of you, the live aspect hasn't come around for you guys yet.
No.
Would it ever be something you would want to consider trying to do?
100%. I like to perform live, and I like to make an idiot out of myself often. Like, I love getting up on stage with just a drum machine and my guitar and just kind of like weirding people out. Like, that's really where that's where like the inspiration for being a musician came for me. So, like something like Casket Slime, like I could easily do that because so much of like the like backing track is like electronically designed. The only setback right now to playing live around where I live in Ottawa is like the scene is like very sparse. Like it's very little payoff. You end up playing with like, the same 5 people, and you know, like I don't see a point in driving like 4 hours to Toronto or anything like that to kind of do something like that.
Definitely.
Like, I mean,
the payoff has to be there.
The payoff kind of has to be there, like a little bit. Like it's not really like super about the payoff. It's, to me, it's just like, why, you know, like I don't know. I just have a hard time seeing that band playing like a live show right at this point.
Definitely. And just for clarifications for everybody listening, when I say payoff, I don't necessarily mean monetary. Yes, that's always a part of it, but I think the payoff has to be there, you know, emotionally, mentally, however you want to put that. You know, it has to be worth it to you to be able to do it. Yeah. Straight up.
Definitely. And I totally agree with that.
Yeah, I could get behind that because sometimes, you know, I've played shows in my career where I've just like, why the fuck am I doing this?
Yeah.
To me, it's one of those things where I think you have to be satisfied with where you're playing, and it's not all, and how, you know, the particulars about it.
Yeah. So, yeah, like for instance, if I could get on like a fucking airplane and go play like Obscene Extreme, I would do it. But I'm not gonna pack my car up to go play Mavericks in Ottawa. I'm just not gonna do it.
Right. Well, I mean, there's very little emotional payoff to it for sure. There's clubs in my city that I've been like, you know, I really don't. We got offered this, but do we really want to do it? No, yeah. Not really. It's like, for sure. So, Enter the Casket came out a month ago. What's coming up next? I mean, are you working on something new?
Yeah. So, like, the band kind of like this weekend is in a little bit of disarray. Like, Jason like left the project, like he's done with it. Like he doesn't really feel like writing for a death metal band anymore. So for now, he's kind of out. So he was the main lyricist on the last album, and he was also the vocalist. So I'm kind of like trying to think about like what like would be progressive for this project since it's just me now. And I've decided, you know, like the next LP is going to be like it's going to be a concept album. It's going to be a concept album. I'm essentially going to be taking the horror movie trope of having each song be about a horror film and just making the whole album a horror film, kind of like a King Diamond kind of thing.
Nice.
Yeah. So like, that's kind of like, that's what I want to do. So I'm going to be doing that. And then I also have like a grind or like a more grindcore kind of album also going to be coming down the pipes as well. So I kind of have two projects for Casket Slime that are like kind of like in the concept stages right now. But like, you know, when those come like to fruition like later on down the road, should probably be about like next summer or something like that. People should be able to start seeing new music.
Absolutely. That's rad as shit to me because you actually have the idea, and obviously with this you've actually been able to put it through to fruition.
Yeah, thanks.
Super cool.
Yeah, I mean, like I hope it pans out the way I want it to pan out, because I really like the idea of writing like a concept album, and I'm currently going to film school, so hopefully I'll be able to take something that I've learned from that and actually apply it to a project I'm currently working on.
Nice. So the film school thing, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. I started it at the beginning of the pandemic because I was so bored. I was like, well, what do I do now? So I was like, I might as well get certified in something.
Definitely. Now, if you don't mind, do you mind to delve into that a little bit?
Sure, yeah.
So obviously with film school, you know, there's more to it than just point and click camera. Yeah, action, cut. 100%. You know, there's more than just that. What kind of direction are you wanting to go in? Are you wanting to go full on and like become a director? Are you looking at like editing?
So specifically I'm studying script writing. So like I would hope to be like a script writer, you know, like I want to like write horror films. I want to like, you know, I just want to work in that realm. I want to like write about like terrible things, fantastical things. You know, like some of my like inspirations, like Sam Raimi, from like Evil Dead fame, you know, all that kind of stuff, like RoboCop. I'm just like obsessed with it. Like, I just really want to bring back that old school vibe. You know, like when you think of things like Cleanup Aisle 666, you know, like that's cool. Like that's kind of the stuff that I want to like inject back into horror, is like that old style, like pulpy kind of like after school specialty kind of vibe.
Absolutely. Well, see, my favorite horror film of all time is Phantasm.
Oh my God. Yeah. Phantasm is massive, and for me and Jason as well.
And I'm that guy. I like all 5 of them.
Yeah.
I like all 5 of them. Like, they all hold a special place in my heart. And yes, Coscarelli's work in all of those, obviously without Ravager because he only produced it. But Coscarelli's work in all of that is extremely cool. And yeah, I completely get what you're saying, like with the Sam Raimi and the Tobe Hooper type stuff, for sure. I was actually reading something earlier today about where Sam Raimi is directing the new Doctor Strange into the multiverse film. And it's interesting because when in Spider-Man 2, when Dr. Octopus comes out and they're going through the names, and Ted Raimi, who's playing Jameson's assistant, he says, Doctor Strange. He goes, it's taken. And Alfred Molina is back as Dr. Octopus in the new Spider-Man film. So technically all of the canon is there with Sam Raimi's Spider-Man and the MCU now.
Wow.
Yeah. I was like, what?
That's nutty.
Yeah. That's my nerd moment for the day. I get one of those, but only one.
I mean, that's pretty exciting, man.
It really is. It's like so in depth. It's like, there's no way they planned that. And then it's Hollywood and you're like, they plan every fucking thing.
100%. I'm just glad that they're letting him do another. I'm just glad they're letting him do another superhero movie, like another Marvel movie, because they're like, you know what? Like those Spider-Man movies that he did, like they came out when I was like a kid.
Right.
So like that was like I didn't see any problem with those movies because I was so young, and Willem Dafoe's like performance as the Green Goblin is so visceral. That's just like, I love at least the first 2 Spider-Man films.
Oh, absolutely. And I love those as well. And because they came out for me when I was a teenager, you know, like 16, 17, 18, somewhere around in there. And the only thing that I had an issue with was in Spider-Man 3. I thought it was a little too long, and I was just, I do like it, but like the whole emo dance scene, I was just like, nah, could have done without it.
Yeah, that was a little weird.
Yeah,
I don't really know.
It really was, but I think that's, you know, I think that was Sam Raimi's thing, that he, you know, he's never directed anything like that before. So why not try and do it?
True.
Welcome to the night. You think you know Night Demon? Then the Night Demon Heavy Metal Podcast is for you. Step into the darkness as we peel back the curtain to give you an unprecedented, all-access look into the mind and the heart of the demon. We're talking band history, song analysis, studio anecdotes, stories from the road. It's everything a diehard Night Demon fan could want and more. This is the only place to learn the inside scoop, the deep dive trivia, the untold tales from the band members themselves and those closest to the Night Demon story. Need more? The Sacred Night Demon Crypt will be pried open to reveal demo recordings that have never before seen the light of day. All with in-depth commentary by the band and the people who were there for the writing and recording process. This is a gold mine, a treasure trove of all things Night Demon. Head over to nightdemon.net or wherever you listen to podcasts.
All right, so I want to get into some general questions about you as a person.
All right.
Priest or maiden?
Oh my God, what the fuck kind of a question is that? Oh man.
And mind you, I just saw Priest for the first time last week.
Yeah, I saw that on your story. That must have been a killer show.
It was, and you know, and the day after, Richie Faulkner had to cancel the tour because he went into the hospital.
No way.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna have to go with Judas Priest just because I'm gay as well as Metal God. So
right on. And
yeah,
I was actually speaking with somebody about that the other day, and you know, that was a completely unscripted TV moment.
Yeah.
And kudos to Rob for that.
100%.
Because when he was talking, I believe it was on MTV with Carson Daly. And he was just like, bam, there it is. And I was like, dude, that takes a lot. That's hardcore.
Well, have you read his biography?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, like the way his biography frames it, like leading up to it, is just like so crazy because he for so long thought that was going to like completely ruin his career.
Yes.
And it's like fuck to think of that at all, because it's like he's metal god. Like, right.
And honestly, I kind of get why he thought that. And 100%. I think honestly, if it were anybody else, if it were a Corey Taylor, not saying that Corey Taylor is, or anything, but if it were a Corey Taylor, if it were, you know, I don't know, somebody not as established as Rob Halford, everyone knows it's even what I call the normies, you know, the people who don't really listen to metal, they still know who Judas Priest is.
Yeah.
For the most part. I mean, if it were anybody else, I think it probably could have. But for him, not at all.
Especially though, like back like in the 80s and 90s and stuff like that, like when it was like way less progressive than it is now.
Definitely.
Because like I feel like now it's such like a whatever thing. It's like it's just a part of somebody's identity that people don't even really consider it. But back then it was like such a political like thing to be gay.
Right. Absolutely. If you could relive any age of your life, what would it be?
I'm pretty sure I would like to be 20 years old again, just because I had like no responsibilities and I had such anxiety at that point in my life that I just shouldn't have. I would just go back and just live my life completely free of that anxiety. Just drink so much more and just fuck so much more and just smoke so much more
right
than I can now. That's basically it.
Yeah, and then you grew up.
Yeah, basically.
Unfortunately, not by any of our choices.
It's a terrible thing because people are always telling you like, oh, it's going to be like, you better live your life the best you can right now. And you're like, I don't even know what you're talking about. I'm 18 years old. And then you blink and you're fucking fat. You're 30. Ugh.
Well, you know, I've always been, no, I've always been fat, but not 30. I almost wish I was 30 again.
Yeah.
If you could live your 20th year in any era, like any...
Oh, I love this question.
What would you choose? What time frame would you choose to be 20 years old in?
Jeez.
That's a tough one.
Yeah, because there's so many good ones.
Yeah. I mean, I would say like 1969 or, 1981. Knowing what I know now, obviously. Like if I was 20 and 81... where it's like the thrash scene is booming and starting to go nuts, it'd be perfect.
Yeah. You know what? I think I would have to go with the 80s just because, like, it's exactly you said, like, shit's going nuts. So, like, there's still, like, that level of, like, carefreeness. I don't know. Maybe I'm just ignorant to, like, the history of the 80s, but, like, it seems like a pretty chill time.
For sure.
Or either the 80s or the 70s. Either one of those.
Absolutely. I mean, that's one of the things that I would, I mean, it would be hard for me to actually pinpoint a year for sure, but it would probably
especially just because it's the horror movies at that point are also booming.
Oh,
like,
absolutely.
That's a really good time for horror films, especially like in the 70s. Like there's so much more like exploitation horror and stuff. Like I'd love to go to New York, like live in New York around that time because there's like just so many porno theaters playing so many disgusting B movies.
Oh, absolutely. So you did mention a second ago with being 20 again and being able to not have the anxiety, but being able to drink and smoke and fuck. Beer or whiskey?
Beer. Always been a beer guy.
Definitely. Do you have a particular brand?
Old style Pilsner, buddy. I don't know if you're Canadian or not, but no. we got this festive little can up here. It's got like green and red and yellow, and there's like a bunch of crazy shit all over. Have you ever seen the movie Fubar?
No, I have not.
Oh, dude. If you have a moment in the next couple of months to check out this movie, it's Fubar, Fubar.
Sure.
You'll swear to God that you're watching like a real documentary, but it's a joke. It's these two Canadian metalhead dudes that are just like complete like trailer trash, and it's like the chronicle of like their life, and it's like so funny, bro.
Dude,
and
that's insane.
basically the whole time they're drinking Pilsner, and it's basically like Busch. It's like Laker Ice. It's like one of those like really low end like $2 beers.
Right.
But like you could get like a fucking 6-pack of those for like $10 and just like a tall can 6-pack and just get fucking ruined on them. That's what I prefer, bud.
Nice. What do you do to get away from music?
I listen to true crime podcasts. Like, I don't know. There's times when I like just this last week, actually, like I couldn't listen to any music. Like I just didn't. Like I listened to I'm listening to this audiobook right now called The Confessions of Young Nero. It's like 16 hours long, but I've just been binging that at work and stuff like that. Like I get like that sometimes too. Like there'll be like weeks when I just like don't listen to music, or like I just like stop essentially, you know, like I just do something else. It's not very often though. Like I think you might notice if you find my Metal Encyclopedia page that I'm in an absolute fuck ton of bands.
Yeah, I saw that. You do different things in those too. You do drums in one, you do guitar in another.
Yeah. I'm like, I have like a very weird like case of ADD where like I just can't stop doing things. I was like learning how to do 3D modeling in the summer at one point. I'm like learning how to become a writer now. So, you know, like there's just like I can't seem to stop. I don't have a social life. You know, like I have a very poor social life. Like I really don't talk to very many people. Like people invite me places often, and I just don't go. Like I'm like a really weird person.
I get that because like for me, it stemmed from like all of my non-musician friends wanting to go and hang out at the bar.
Yeah.
And I associated the bar with work for being a musician.
Yeah.
And I was just like, well, where are you guys going to go? Oh, we're going to go to, you know, such and such bar. I'm like, nah, I mean, dude, at a certain time in my life, I was spending like, you know, 4 or 5 nights a week in a bar.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I mean, couldn't we just hang out at somebody's house?
Bars are fucking expensive too, though. I don't know about you, but in Canada and Ottawa especially, dude, beer is like a tall can of beer is like $10.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's insane. That's why.
No, dude, it sucks.
That's why everybody needs to switch to like PBR and shit.
Dude. That's what I'm saying though. PBR is still like $10.
Oh my gosh, is it really?
Yeah, and some bars in Ottawa, dude, it's fucking like it's unbelievable. Like,
oh my gosh, that's insane. That is fucking crazy as fuck.
Ottawa sucks, dude.
I mean, we're talking like here, it like a bar that I frequent, Mag Bar. Their PBR just regular is like $2.25.
Oh my god, that's what I'm fucking talking about.
I mean, but not everything's like that. But like you get like Budweiser, be like $4.
Yeah, that's reasonable.
Yeah, that is. I mean, shit, you're talking like here in America, that's like fucking concert prices, man.
Yeah, dude, it's legit like in most bars.
Like if you go to a big show in like Toronto, like, you know, at whatever arena there, how much is the fucking beer in there?
I have no idea. I've never been in an arena show.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Well, I'm sure it's fucked. I mean, like, if the bars are that expensive, like, I bet you're not getting a fucking deal there.
Like,
fuck that.
Metalheads are usually eclectic people. We like to travel for the most part. We collect knickknacks and other weird stuff that, like, we just display on shelves. What do you collect?
I collect VHS tapes.
Nice.
Specifically. I got 2 shelves beside me right now that are full to the brim with VHS tapes. A lot of them, like surface level stuff, like Dusk Till Dawn. You know, like I got a lot of Schwarzenegger, like Face Off with Cage. But I really try to look for like more obscure VHSs, and I have found a couple of them. I found this one called Blood Shack. That movie it's so weird. I don't even think you can find it online, but it's like this really poorly put together like movie about this like haunted shack.
Nice. I'm interested already.
It's like this chick just like shows up to like spend the night in the shack. Like her friends like are going to go with her, but then they just like ditch her. They're like, nah, we're good. Bye. And they just like drive away without her. And this dude in like a gimp suit like chases her around with like this big fucking machete, this like long ass machete. It's like the weirdest, like it's only like, and it's not even a feature length movie. It's only like 60 minutes long.
Wow.
But it's from like 79. It's like one of the weirder ones.
You know, that is always something that is interesting to me as well with the film connection. You know, I planned to go to film school when I was younger, but I never did it.
Oh, yeah.
But because I've always thought the editing process was amazing. Just, you know, taking actual film and splicing it type stuff. I always thought that was great. So it's interesting to me with the digital age that we are in today, with all these streaming services out there, films like that, where the fuck are they at?
Yeah.
Because
it's true.
Yeah. I mean, you get so many bad movies, no matter what it is. It could be an action movie. It could be a fucking suspense thriller. It could be horror. It could be a comedy that are just so fucking low budget bad. Not necessarily because they're terribly written or any shit like that. They're just so low budget.
Yeah.
And where the fuck do they go? Because, like,
you know what? That's exactly it. And that's exactly, you know, that's part of the reason why I enjoy collecting VHS, is because it's like, where is this going to end up? You know, like something like Bloodshot, it's going to get thrown into the trash, and it's upsetting. You know, like there's some old pornography that I've even collected, you know, like some John Holmes films that I own on DVD. I found them, like I found this one, the Jade Cat one. It was $20 on this adult video website that hadn't been updated in like 20 years. And I took a huge risk giving them my credit card information, but they sent me the DVD in the end of it. So
crazy.
Maybe there's some Asian gangster out there who's using my credit card information to blow out the black market. That's fine, because I have this DVD. But it's for real though. You know, it's like, I think that there's a market for that, because there's something fun about watching like something that's just so bad.
Right.
You know, like something that's like poorly, like that's super grainy and it's illogical, and like the reactions are super like expressive and super like intense. You know, it's like seeing stuff like that is so like engaging and so like there's a hilarity to it. You know, there's like,
you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right with that. And because this is October and it's spooky season here in the Metal Forge, with you saying that, it reminds me, I actually went with a couple of friends actually, to see Death Rider in the House of Vampires.
Nice.
It is Glenn Danzig written, directed, and produced.
Shut up.
Western horror film.
I have to see. Is it in theaters?
It was like scarcely in theaters. Let's just say that. Now,
can you give me the title of that again?
Death Rider in the House of Vampires. And the thing about this was everything that you just hit on. The graininess, the dialogue, watching something just because it's so bad. Like, you talk about like the 70s porn, how the acting in that, for example, is like somebody says a line and then like 3 beats later, the retort line is there.
Yeah. That's
exactly how this was.
Ugh, amazing.
And the friends, we were discussing it afterwards, and it's such a good movie. It's like, it's so bad it's good. That we were just like, you know, in Danzig's mind, you know, he has to think that this is a fucking Academy Award winning masterpiece.
I hope so.
So yeah,
I genuinely hope so. I love Glenn Danzig so much, just because he's that guy that's just like so like upset all the time, and he's just like such a crusty piece of shit.
And it's like the thing of he's the guy that everyone says as a musician, dude, you can't take it so seriously. He takes it so seriously. Yeah, and he is that guy. I
have this hilarious comic book called Henry and Glenn Forever and Ever. I don't know if you ever heard about it. It's basically like this like comic about like Henry Rollins and Glenn Danzig, like their boyfriends.
Oh my God.
It's so funny because it's like so like it's such like a joke. Like it's not like in any way like sexual. It's like, but like there's this quote in the front like of this. I have like the ultimate edition, and the quotes from like Henry Rollins, and it's like, dude, has Glenn seen this? He would not be impressed. And underneath it is a quote from Glenn Danzig, and he's like, some people are assholes. It's so good.
Definitely. I'm going to have to check it out. It sounds hilarious.
It's so funny.
It's Gonna Get Weird is the name of the podcast. We're on season 2, so you have a whole season to get weird with Frank Green and Scott Clark. The best part is there's always laughter.
Oh, yeah, you can pull that out.
We have national touring comedians, NFL stars, rock stars, your local friends. It always gets weird. Weird answers.
Have y'all ever snorted coke off of a 78 Pinto? No? You ain't no
man.
Weird questions.
Who had a bigger cocaine habit, Jock Sutherland or Kaywood Ledford?
Neither one, because they stopped beating their wives.
And weird we never even thought of.
Well, no. My friend is on acid, and I sent my friend to go find a payphone so that I can call and turn myself in for murdering this guy and ruin my life.
We love all types of people, but we don't love all people.
Weird. It's Gonna Get Weird is the name of the podcast, available everywhere. And thank you to Big X Sports Radio for being a proud sponsor of It's Gonna Get Weird. Frank Green, Scott Clark. Yeah.
On the idea of film still here, what was your favorite TV show growing up?
The Simpsons.
Nice.
Yeah, The Simpsons. I used to own the DVD box sets for that, and I would religiously watch every episode, and I would also watch like the commentary with like Matt Groening and like the writers and like the producers.
Right.
And like that was like some of my early exposure. Like I think that's what made me know that I was going to work with film at some point in my life, just because I was so engrossed in The Simpsons.
For sure. I get that. And sometimes there's nothing like watching great supplemental material to movies and TV shows and stuff. I know, like, I absolutely love the extended editions of, like, Lord of the Rings for that reason.
Yeah.
Because there's just so much extra content. I love seeing the way things were made like that. And I wish, like, people like Steven Spielberg would do commentary tracks. But there's not a commentary track on anything of his.
He's a weirdo, but he's like one of the world's best.
Right.
But I know what you're saying. I totally agree. Like there's some movies I'm watching. I'm like, I wish that there was like a 5-hour cut of this movie. Like I don't even care if nobody else would watch it but me. Like the most recent Christopher Nolan film, Tenet, I felt really strongly about. I wish that there was an extended cut of that because I just love the effects of that movie and I love the world it was set in.
Right.
And like, I could watch that movie. I've seen it like 11 times at this point. I could just watch that movie all day.
It's been on my list to view.
It's pretty good. I mean, I'm not gonna speak super highly of it because there are some people who don't care for it, and I get why. But I personally enjoyed it, and I thought it was just like mind bending with what he was doing.
And sometimes that's good.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's amazing.
What album is an absolute playthrough for you?
Ooh.
If you had to pick one.
If I had to pick one, Painkiller by Judas Priest, probably. Yeah, I mean, it's probably going to be Painkiller by Judas Priest.
Absolutely. That's such a great one to pick, too.
That's a fantastic album. Like, it's so off the wall. Like, you listen to some of their earlier records, like, you listen to, like, Hellbent for Leather, and you're like, okay, like, these dudes are rocking. Like, this is pretty cool. This is kind of bluesy. It's hanging out. And then you're just, like, thinking, like, 20 years after this record, they made Painkiller. Like, it's, like, completely night and day.
I don't even think it's 20 years. I think it's only like 12 or 13. Yeah, it's not even that. Yes, absolutely. And it is night and day different. I think that there's other bands that I've noticed that have done that as well, where like, yeah, in like when Hellbent for Leather came out, it was 1979. And it's total rockin' awesomeness. But then when you get to Painkiller, they're fucking metal.
Yeah.
Kiss did that too.
Yeah.
With, Revenge. You know, they became metal on Revenge. And I was like, wow. You know, considering they were hair metal in the 80s, they were kind of glam metal in the 70s. And so they've like completely changed as well. But yes, when a band adapts and changes with the time.
Yeah, like that record really was like fucking insane.
Definitely. And I like Hellbent for Leather.
Oh yeah, I fucking love the shit out of Hellbent for Leather.
Yeah. So I've got one more question, but before we get into it, do you have any shout outs you want to give to anybody today?
I'm going to shout out to my boys in Thundercock, from Ottawa, Ontario. They're super chill. I want to shout out to Beauty and the Bean on Instagram. Bean is like an adorable cat that I really like. Shout out to the most recent season of Creepshow on Shudder.
Nice.
That shit's ballin', pretty good. And I also want to shout out to the Canadian government for wasting $600 million on an election that didn't fucking do shit. Go fuck yourself, Justin Trudeau. You're a fucking stupid piece of shit.
Yeah. For sure. So, last question of the day here in the Metal Forge is, what album changed your life?
It's going to have to be Spiritual Healing by Death. That album was an album that I heard when I was in my Metallica phase of high school. So that was like the first like extreme metal album that I heard. And Chuck Schuldiner has always been a massive, massive, massive influence to me throughout my entire life. Death, I owned every album cover on its shirt when I was in high school.
Nice.
You know, like they're massively influential to me. So I'm definitely going to say Spiritual Healing, just because that's one of my favorite Death albums, especially at that time. Like the cover was just so visceral, you know, like with the guy in the wheelchair and then the religious looking dude in the white suit with the money sticking out of his pockets and like the old fucking mammals standing around them, the old fuckers.
Oh,
that
absolutely.
album,
The evangelical like lay on hands minister type.
Oh yeah, the whole like just the cover like sucked me in. Like I just remember seeing the cover, and it's the same feeling that I had when I heard Toxic Holocaust, Hell on Earth, like that same like in that same time period. It's like the covers are both by Ed Repka. I'm certain that the Spiritual Healing is done by Ed Repka at least. And when I saw the cover for Hell on Earth, I was just like, holy shit! Like that is so cool. Like that whole like nuclear like metal punk thing, like that was like that blew me away. Like that sucked me in. And the same thing happened with Spiritual Healing. It was just like the cover was just like, that's what death metal is about. Like that's so cool. You know, it's like this ugly reality hidden under these like bright colors kind of thing.
Absolutely. And yeah, it is a Repka cover, and he has just so many good ones that are out there. And this, you know, it for a band like Death to have bright blues and whites, that's, you know, they're just so fucking heavy. To have a cover that is like that, I almost want to say it doesn't match what the package is, but it does. Yeah,
just like with the content of the cover, that's really what brings it home.
Absolutely. And you know, you spoke of the Metallica phase in high school and everything, and you know, this album came out in 1990, but you know, it almost has that Leper Messiah feeling to it.
Yeah,
you know, the greed of organized religion and politics and shit like that.
And you know, that's one other thing that I really have to give to Chuck too, though, is like that's really symbolic of his ability to take like reality and make that into the horror. You know, like that is the death metal, is the fact that it's like here's like this disgusting, like grotesque, like reality, like this extremely like duplicitous kind of thing, where on one hand it's like this guy preaching about like healing and like holiness, on the other hand it's like the victim is like the sick and stuff like that. Like that's like so cool, because you package that on top of this like disgusting record with these razor sharp riffs and these cool like death metal melodies and stuff like that. And it's just like, that's really what Death was for me, is just like the heaviness mixed with like the philosophy of life.
Absolutely. And that's not one that a lot of people say, actually. You know, a lot of them are like with scream bloody gore and leprosy and shit like that. But yeah,
well, you know, I got a scream bloody gore tattoo on my stomach, like a big ass one.
No shit.
Yeah. But it's still Spiritual Healing for me. You know, like I get why people would say scream bloody gore, like that's a top notch record, but Spiritual Healing, you know, it's like it's the first one that I heard. So
for
it's
sure.
like, to me, that's
that's
the first one.
It's me. That pinnacle album. For sure. I get that. Dude, Fredddy, thank you so much for coming on the show this week. And, you know, from your stuff, you know, from the Casket Slime stuff, what do you want me to play out today?
Well, let's play them out with The Only Good Bug is a Dead Bug. And thanks so much, man, for having me on the show. I really appreciate it, and spending so much time talking to me. You know, this wasn't just a one cut-off interview. You know, it's decent talk, man.
Definitely. And thank you for coming on the show as well. I appreciate it. I really hope, you know, at some point you do want to do shows and stuff like that, because if you ever did decide to put a band together and go on tour with something, I would love to have you guys here in Louisville.
But you know what? If that ever happens, you're the first person I'm going to call.
For sure, dude. Thank you. So as you heard a second ago, this is from Enter the Casket. This is The Only Good Bug is a Dead Bug.
The only good bug is a dead bug.
All right, Metalheads. Bonus content for this week's episode. I'm sitting here with Aaron from Lit as Fuck Promotions and Beth from Harlots and Hellions. Babes of Metal 4 coming up here soon at 1512 Portland in Louisville, Kentucky. How are y'all doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Dude, I am fine. It's awesome. It's a great day out.
I'm doing okay. Sorry, I'm soft-spoken, but I'm doing all right. So yeah, 1512 Portland, also known as Portal.
Ah,
now.
Cool.
So
sweet. So they actually have a name now.
They do, and a fancy sign and all kinds of stuff.
It's a nice venue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's, you know, people get scared of that part of town, and that's not a part that I think you should be scared of right through there. You know, because it's before you get to what people look at. You know,
right.
It's actually an uptick part of town right now where there's a lot of cool restaurants that are down there, like the Table right up the street from it, which is a pretty cool place as well.
Yeah, it's definitely a trendy area, but it's not like this is a new place to the scene because, you know, it's former Tim Faulkner Gallery. It was right next door. So it's a place that's familiar to a lot of people. Musically, it's where they were doing Beatersville for a while, so it's in a familiar area and familiar to a lot of people. Very much an artistic area because it is a you know, working gallery. It's also an event space. Like there's you know, a lot that goes into that, and it's, you know, decorated and can't miss it, really.
Absolutely. So tell everybody out in Metal Forge land about the Babes of Metal series.
So Harlots and Hellions inception kind of came about, as you said, this is our 4th year, but it just kind of came about very small, casual show at Kaiju. Originally, it was just a burlesque show, kind of filled with more alternative girls who like alternative music and wanted to do something a little bit different than the traditional burlesque. As we grew, we went to different venues, bigger venues. We started adding bands. It kind of became my baby because I used to work with other people in doing this, but then it kind of became my baby, and it's been my baby for 3 years now. We've gotten, like I said, bigger and bigger over the years. This will be our 1st year that we're booking an out-of-town band. Thanks to Aaron over here. Very excited. He's actually wearing the Toxic Ruin shirt as we speak.
Gotta represent the boys.
That's right.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so the Babes of Metal is just an incorporation of burlesque and bands, and we try to include art vendors. You know, we try to get sponsors, you know, tattoo shops or, you know, whatever, really trying to branch out as much as we can. Being in this new venue has allowed us to expand even more because this year will be the 1st year that we'll actually have an area list, and all of that. So, and then we'll actually have, there's an outside space. We might have food trucks and like all kinds of stuff. So we're just trying to grow and grow and grow, as a group.
Absolutely. And it looks like, you've got some bands on the show here that have been on the Metal Forge before with Louisville's own Artwork for the Blind.
Yeah.
Shout out to those guys.
And Bat Wizard.
And Bat Wizard hasn't been on the show yet, but
hopefully
soon.
They just played FTA.
Yeah, I know that
mask Vic was wearing was pretty fucking
yeah,
sweet.
that was something.
It was, and of course Toxic Ruin, which most people in the independent metal scene have seen.
Yeah, man,
because they've got this killer. Yeah, definitely, and they got this killer fucking logo. You know?
Yeah, they're really good, man. We did Stonecutters did a tour with them, the March Radness tour with Lich King as well. The tour that COVID stole from us.
Yeah, they played like one show.
Well, we had 3 shows left in the tour, and the last show was at St. Vitus.
Oh,
and they got the rug pulled out from under.
Definitely.
But the one like silver lining of that whole thing was that Brian from Lich King has his own studio, Sonic Titan Studios, and so the tour, when we were on tour, we were probably 2-3 hours from that studio when we found out that the rest of the dates were canceled. So we all drove back to their studio, and we were honestly one of the first 3 bands to do any kind of live stream.
Right.
When COVID started.
Absolutely.
It turned out great. We had like 42,000 viewers. Like,
holy shit.
Yeah, it was really nice. It was a great experience, even though, you know,
it was live in the studio.
It was.
And, you know, that was also the same tour with Omer, who
Yes.
that he was on the show the day of going on tour.
Indeed.
So that's always fun.
Yeah.
So it's Saturday, October 23rd is the show.
Yes, it's going to be doors at 7 p.m., show at 8, and probably ending around midnight or so is kind of the plan. I did want to kind of mention, too, in addition to the rotation of bands every year, because we've also featured bands in the past that are local, such as, Blind Scryer, Stagecoach Inferno, all of them. We also rotate our dancers out each year. We do have a core group of young ladies that we work with, but we also, do auditions every year to keep the variety of performers and performances there as well. So we always want to keep the audience guessing.
Definitely. And it's just like a band, for that matter. A band goes on tour and plays the same 7 songs or 8 songs, and you don't want to see them again. But you constantly got to change things up.
Right.
Mix it up. I've said, what I would love? I've said this for so many years. I wish, bigger bands that I grew up with would start doing, just album tours. What if Metallica for the next 6 years just did a
Saint
Kill 'Em All
Anger
tour?
That sounds like something they would do in Vegas.
But what if they did a Kill 'Em All tour and then a Ride the Lightning tour and then an Injustice tour? That would be sick.
It really would be. And they could do it because they've done it before.
Sure.
They did it at Metallica, for example, did it at Orion.
Yeah.
But they did everything backwards. They started with the struggle they did the Black Album and Ride the Lightning. So they started with Struggle Within and went to Enter Sandman.
Oh, dig it.
Yeah. So I'm kind of interested to see what's in store for them going forward.
Right.
Because they've been doing these pop-up shows.
I just saw one of my friends. She stood in line for $20 and got a ticket at this venue.
It's in Chicago.
Is it Chicago?
Yeah. Yeah, that was. I've got a friend going to that
she's
too.
one of the ladies that works with the people from FTA. She posted in the Full Terror Assault and Friends group. She was like, I just stood in line and got Metallica ticket for $20. I'm going to see them at the Metro. I'm like, what?
Yeah, that's it. The Metro Theater. Yeah. That's the one where that's like the Kill 'Em All era video that came out. That's with Cliff 'Em All.
Oh, dude.
That's that video. That's from the Metro in Chicago.
I did not know that.
Definitely.
Hey guys, Wrestling Steve of the Wrestling Steve Show here. So if you're currently listening to the Metal Forge with Mark Jackson, then you understand that Mark Jackson has a pretty discerning taste when it comes to music as a whole. You'll also understand that he has a discerning taste for professional wrestling, just like me. My show is called The Wrestling Steve Show. I talk about modern and classic pro wrestling in a completely unbiased, unfiltered way. Be sure to check me out on all available podcasting platforms. That is The Wrestling Steve Show. And I am the host, Wrestling Steve. Just remember, like Confucius said, man who goes through turnstile in Thailand is going to Bangkok. Pro wrestling.
Hey, it's Mark Maxwell at Maxwell's House of Music. Listen, all this stuff is now available to purchase on our website. Check it out at maxwellshouseofmusic.com.
We carry all the top brands, like Fender.
We got Gibson.
We also have basses.
We've got ukuleles.
We got drums.
We've got sound gear.
We've got keyboards.
So Beth, when you decided to start this, what was the genesis of the idea?
Again, kind of like, I was with Vava Vixens for like 4 or 5 years, and don't get me wrong, they're incredible performers in terms of burlesque side and kind of some sideshow and vaudevillian sort of stuff, but we didn't get a lot of necessarily creative freedom like with that, and like there wasn't always, there's a lot of cutesy stuff, a lot of that, but I mean, and we did it well, but like, there wasn't a lot of what I would consider super alternative stuff. There wasn't a lot of metal, incorporated into the shows.
Right.
So really it was just kind of, I left that place because it was more starting to like work with like-minded people who also, kind of had similar interests and tastes as myself, who wanted to do something a little bit different. Because, you know, we might look like, not to say that, you know, set ourselves apart, but we look a little different. We like different things. You know, we don't necessarily fall into that cookie cutter.
We like thrash metal and dirty dime bars.
Right, that's right.
Right.
Like, I don't know how much I like thrash, but like, no, I'm with you. But yes, so that's kind of like, we all like our different subgenres.
Fair enough.
Definitely.
But, you know, there's other groups in town, and like actually, I collaborate a lot with her now because there was the other group, We Are the Weirdos, who was kind of doing a similar thing, and that's Ricky Little's troupe. But she's done 2 or 3 shows with us now. So we've really kind of been working very collaboratively because she and I definitely had a similar vision. And then it kind of came about. It was like, all right, well, how can we grow this? And that's when the idea of adding bands came along.
Definitely. And I think it's most bands, I don't care who they are, unless it's like like Norwegian or Swedish black metal type stuff. Pretty much every band is like out there saying, I want to have stage dancers. The thrash guys are always like that, you know. I mean, Space Rock is even that way because Hawkwind had stage dancers. So it's kind of like the best of both worlds at that point.
It is, and like
it's a lot of fun.
It is, and like we've done a little bit of a mix of both. Like we've definitely had people who have like collaborated with the bands and danced on stage. But a lot of what it is we'll have like a burlesque time, and then the band will play, and because we'll kind of rotate it in and out. But we've definitely had girls. I think when Olm played, I think we had someone that did a number to that. I did a number to Blind Scryer, and I think one of our others did a number to She, but she's also married to the singer. So I mean that's part of it too. but no, we've definitely tried to do. Again, we try to keep people guessing, do a little bit of everything. We've got girls that are like myself. We're trained dancers. We have aerialists. We have girls that do fire. Though we're not allowed to do fire in the venue we're in right now because it's a hazard. We could do it outside. We may do it outside. I don't know.
If the weather's nice, hey, if it's just slightly cool. Fire would be awesome.
It's definitely a possibility. And then we have girls that do kind of freak show stuff. There might be a Bed of Nails that's coming to the show this fall.
Oh, wow.
I saw that in the
interesting.
So I was like, oh, okay.
So it sounds like you just have for lack of a better word, troupe, a group of people. I was just say that a group.
Troops appropriate.
Troops appropriate.
Yeah.
It seems like you have a troop of people that are just sitting there, and it's like everybody gets their own say in what they want to do.
Yeah.
Right.
That you're not just laying it out there saying, okay, well, you're going to be
It's not this is what you can do. It's like, what do you want to do?
Right.
Right.
It's like when you're auditioning for the school play, and you can be a chorus member.
Right.
You don't get to star, but you can do the background singing.
Right.
So it gives everybody a chance to shine.
It does. Like, really, my only rule is, hey, it has to be metal. Because I've had people give me music that's like Tenacious D, and I'm like, well, that's pushing it. So I was like, or like sending music that's absolutely not metal. I'm like, well, when it's called
Jack Black and Cow, that shit's fun.
It's good, but and that's just one example that comes off the top of my head. But I've definitely had stuff sent to me that is absolutely not metal. I'm like, well, when it's called Babes of Metal,
in our niche and our sphere,
right?
There's a lot of creative.
Right, exactly. No, there absolutely is. And it's like, I encourage variety, so it's not one striptease after the other, but ultimately I don't dictate what they come up with.
I've got to collaborate with Harlots and Hellions because I was a fan year 2 and 3 when they started adding bands. I was like, oh, the boys are playing.
Yeah.
So I went, and now I'm like, oh man, this is great. You all should let me help you blow this thing up.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
it's
definitely
a really great show, and I feel like it could be a yearly banger in this town.
Absolutely.
Who doesn't want to come see thrash metal and pretty girls?
Boobs and bands and booze.
Yeah,
exactly. All 3 B's, and it's like it's made to be that way.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing is what you were just saying, Aaron. That's awesome is because it could become an institution. It could be that yearly event that I think a lot of metal in Louisville lacks. Yeah, there's Metal Fest out in Shepherdsville with Alan Ashball, which is great. But there's not really a metal festival or just even a show like this other than this.
And that's one of the things that my entity, Lit as Fuck Promotions, has been talking about with my people for a couple of years is about getting some kind of yearly metal festival going. And then when Beth asked me to come on with this, I was just kind of like, you know what? This is already a great established thing that I'm already a fan of. You know, why not help them just to see how I feel about running a yearly festival, and then maybe
and grow it from there. I mean, hell, that could always be the Saturday night feature, and then have a whole weekend full of stuff.
Well, absolutely, and
there's lots of potential in this town.
And being a musician myself, I've always had this thing of there's a such thing as a perfect show. You know, as I've gotten older, it's really come to my attention. It's like, 3 bands, started at 9. Something like that. Go, don't start super late anywhere. Don't start at like 11 o'clock unless it's Metal Monday at the tap room. Then it's always 11 o'clock.
Yep.
You want it to start earlier or you want it to start later?
I mean,
just on time.
Oh,
that would be fucking fair.
Hey,
I'm teasing.
Listen, I love Metal Monday. I go to every single one.
But as I've gotten older, I've noticed that, 3 bands is really where it's at.
Mm-hmm.
Like you've got
your sweet spot.
There is. And honestly, the way this town is, if you're playing in that middle position, that's the best place.
Yeah. I mean, you've always got your opener. I like the 3-band idea too, because you've got an opener, a feature, and a closer.
Right.
And it works really good too, because I'll tell the bands, when we have out of town bands playing at Magbar or something with the local boys, I'm like, look, sometimes, you really got to fill out the vibe of it, but sometimes it's better to let the local band close because there's half the crowd is there to see their local homies, and it's better to let the local band close sometimes.
Oh, absolutely.
Now sometimes, the out of town band that's actually, the headliner.
That if they're drawing the people, then they get. Sure, I think they get the pick of the spot.
Absolutely,
and absolutely.
Like we just did a good show at Magbar with Byzantine. I got them to play Magbar right after their appearance at FTA. It was a fun night. Yeah, man.
Hell yeah!
I love those boys.
But like I said, 3 bands pretty much is the run of the deal. And between this show and Babes 3. The concept between both shows, because on the previous show you had some doom and like the real heavy stuff with like Ulm and Blind Scryer and stuff like that. But now you've kind of got the thrash going on with Toxic Ruin, and you've got some of the really heavy stuff with Artwork and Bat Wizard as well.
I mean, honestly, all the bands you just mentioned, besides Stonecutters, Volcandra, and Cryptic Hymn, that's just all the boys.
Well, yeah.
And we've worked with Volcandra and She.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, you're hard pressed. Like, honestly, like, Ohm for me is like, if they're playing, I'm going to be out.
Well, yeah.
I love those. They just put on such a goddamn good show.
When you were actually putting the show together, is it a thing where you're like, okay, this person has this routine that's going to be doing, this person has this one, and what bands would best complement, or you look at bands first?
Not necessarily. It's just kind of a collaborative effort.
Yeah, this year, like, she's pretty much, doing running the ladies and that side of it. And then, I wanted to, this is the first year, like, I want to get an outside, out of state feature band. And, like I said, Stonecutters has toured with Toxic Ruin, and I know those boys love just playing anywhere, anytime. So I was like, why don't you come to Louisville and do a show for us? And then, like I said, I had a handful of like 8 bands, and Beth did so good at picking last year. I was like, well, who can we get this year? And immediately, Bat Wizard and Artwork for the Blind came to mind, because Bat Wizard's coming off of an FTA appearance.
Right.
And Artwork for the Blind just played, what was it,
Blue Rock. Or Blue Ridge Rock Festival.
Which was a giant show for them to get on.
Oh, yeah.
Real proud of those fellas for getting on that one.
And hell, I mean,
that's a big one.
Right. And Bat Wizard, and I, like, they approached me after the last Babes of Metal. They were really wanting to do it in 2020. But then COVID kind of messed things up. So me and Nick's a buddy of mine, so I stayed in contact with him, and I was like, "Are you on board?" He's like, "Hell yeah!" He's like, "We were never not." Like, it was
absolutely.
He's like, "Just give us a date, we'll be there." Yeah. So like they've been jumping, and like I will say, it's been awesome because we're getting approached more and more now. I've already gotten videos and stuff from bands that want to do it next year. But I mean, because next year's going to be our 5th anniversary, so we're going to try to do something a little bit bigger next year.
For the 5th anniversary, I'm going to
you need 5
shoot
bands.
my proverbial shot at something big.
Oh,
we'll see.
That sounds like a great idea.
Yeah, maybe bring some homies up from NOLA if you like NOLA bands.
Ooh,
so fingers crossed.
Definitely,
big fingers crossed.
Damn.
But we want to just keep getting bigger and bigger. So
that's the idea.
Yeah.
Welcome to the night. You think you know Night Demon? Then the Night Demon Heavy Metal Podcast is for you. Step into the darkness as we peel back the curtain to give you an unprecedented, all-access look into the mind and the heart of the demon. We're talking band history, song analysis, studio anecdotes, stories from the road. It's everything a diehard Night Demon fan could want and more. This is the only place to learn the inside scoop, the deep dive trivia, the untold tales from the band members themselves and those closest to the Night Demon story. Need more? The sacred Night Demon Crypt will be pried open to reveal demo recordings that have never before seen the light of day, all with in-depth commentary by the band and the people who were there for the writing and recording process. This is a gold mine, a treasure trove of all things Night Demon. Head over to nightdemon.net or wherever you listen to podcasts.
All right, so you guys don't get away from the show that easy. I'm going to go ahead and ask you guys some of the same questions that I ask these bands that come on the show. The general profile questions about you as people, because it's interesting. Because
I'm an asshole.
Everybody is. So metalheads are usually really eclectic people. We like to go on tour, even if it's just following bands on shows, to, if we play music. We like to tour. We like to go around and find little weird shit out there. Mm-hmm. So what do you guys collect?
I collect records, which I think you know that.
Yes, I do know
come
that.
into better days relatively frequently.
It's always on the days I'm not there, though.
Yeah. It's usually, sometimes. But it's just, my schedule. I've been a little bit tapped, so I haven't been record shopping lately. But I'm due for a visit here pretty soon.
Definitely.
I mean, you can never visit enough record shops when you're on the road.
Exactly.
I collect laminates and concert tickets. I've got 2 big manila envelopes stuffed full of just about every concert ticket I've been to since I was 14.
Nice.
So one day when I buy this giant $1 million house I plan on living in, I'm gonna
live in the carriage house. I claim it.
Get your mother-in-law suite.
I was thinking the exact same thing.
But one day I was planning on I'm gonna shadow box everything with all my concert tickets and do it by decade.
Oh, hell yeah. That would be awesome.
Yeah, man.
That's awesome. So what do you do to get away from, just the music for Aaron here and for Beth? What do you do to get away from the concept of the show?
What do I do to just kind of clear my mind or whatever?
Yeah, what do you do?
I mean, I like to be outside. Like, I try to go hiking or try to do stuff that's just in the outdoors because that's generally where I find peace. I like to travel, really just kind of get away. Like, it's like, even though I might be going to a show or hanging out with similar people, like, even if I'm just going as far as like Cincinnati or Indianapolis to go to a show or see something, it's nice just to get out of Louisville for a while. So right. I find solace in that because I'm still around my people, but not necessarily in my scene with my same people, if that makes sense.
Unless you run into one of them at a show, like I did with you
Some
that
of them
day.
do. Yeah. At Heavy Hell. Yeah. That was a good time.
I'm into outdoor activities. I hike a lot. I kayak. I'm constantly trying to find waterfalls to either paddle or walk to. So
nice.
I spend a lot of time in NoCal when I'm not on tour with bands and stuff, man.
Just posting pictures. No big deal.
Yeah, if you follow me at Stonecutters Band Tour Manager on Instagram or Lit as Fuck Promotions on Instagram, you can see all of my travels.
Nice. Definitely. Worst album by your favorite band?
Prequel by Ghost, which I know I catch a lot of shit for liking Ghost in the first place.
Album?
F you. Which, no, I'm not sitting here and saying that, like, I know Ghost isn't heavy, and I don't even know if I would consider them metal, but, like, their older stuff was heavier. And to me, it's like, and I think it was Steven was saying one night, it was like, Ghost is metal for people who like to have a good time. Or other people call it Scooby-Doo chase music. Call it whatever the fuck you want. I mean, either way, Prequel was a trash album, is my point.
I mean, they did go tour with Maiden.
They did, and that's my first time I saw them. Me and my dad saw them together.
I'm not mad at their hustle. It's just not for me.
I get it.
So, and that's fair.
Oh, man. I'm just going to be this guy because I was born in 1980, and when I was 10 years old, I literally watched the fall of my favorite thrash metal band with the Black Album. I was just like, what is this? I don't hate it, but this is not what this is supposed to be. And then it just really got worse from there. But I will say, the shining light of that album, if you have ever heard of Wolf and Man on the Binge and Purge set, it's literally, I don't even really like the album version of it that much, but the version on the live Binge and Purge is my favorite Metallica song.
Well, I was just showing you here.
I saw your
got the giant
set out there too.
Yeah. I've got I just bought the giant box set.
Yeah.
Of the Black Album.
Yeah.
And the demo stuff is really
Mexico
good.
City for those 3 days.
Well, it was actually, it was 3 days that they taped. They were there for 5.
Oh, were they?
Yeah, they took 2. They took a day off between 2 shows.
Man,
yeah,
1,000. If you were like, I'll transport you back for that show right now for $1,000.
Right.
Oh, here you go. Follow me to the ATM.
Yeah, right.
Shit.
Are you sure? I'd be like, you want 2 instead?
Yeah, right. I might even go for it.
Priest or Maiden?
Oh, Maiden for me, easy. I mean, I don't
It's
have
hard.
Judas Priest tattooed on me.
I like them both. I mean, offhand, just recently, I like them both equally, but lately I have been listening to more Priest.
Iron Maiden put on one of the singular best concerts I've ever seen in my life in Nashville a few years ago.
Yeah.
All of us went. There was
definitely
like 30 of us there, and it was just...
Oh, was that the year? Did you meet my dad? Was that the year me and my dad? Yeah, you got to meet my daddy because he looks all square, but he's actually a really big metalhead.
It was so good. They played for like 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
It was amazing. It was an experience.
I mean, I like them both. That's a really hard decision.
It is definitely hard. Another kind of rapid fire question here, because metal, denim or leather?
Oh, leather. Yeah.
I'm a denim guy.
Right on.
Yeah.
I mean,
Leather Rebel. I mean, if we're going to talk about Judas Priest,
I do wear leather when I'm on my bike purposely because I don't want road rash. But
right,
yeah, more of a denim guy.
I mean, my battle vest is denim, but I mean, you saw the pants I was wearing last night.
I only wear Levi's 11 pants ever. So
did you see the Rob Halford denim trench coat?
I didn't.
And it's a denim trench coat. It didn't have. It was like a battle vest, but it was a trench coat.
I've seen other people do that at shows.
I've seen a battle vest trench coat before, but
it just looks goofy. Anytime I've seen it, but if Rob Halford's doing it, I think that's excusable.
Rob can pull that off.
Right.
And he even has a Priest patch on his.
Well, of course he does.
just like Bruce.
Right.
Just like Bruce Dickinson is allowed to wear his own shirts.
Oh,
it's
right.
fine.
Well, yeah, and Jason Newsted.
Right.
Like, listen, we do this all ourselves.
That's one of the things in the group chat with the band is like, okay, who's doing a gimmick tonight?
Right. Can't fault them for that.
Yeah, one guy can do it, but only one can. If you got, unless you're Stagecoach Inferno, then all 4 of those guys can do it.
Good God,
I love it.
What is your biggest fear?
Automaton phobia.
What the fuck did you just say?
Yeah, I probably just goofed it up. But are you familiar with the Uncanny Valley?
No.
So I'm legitimately afraid of anything that looks human but isn't. And so things like puppets, dolls, mannequins.
Centaurs?
No, because those are mythical creatures. I'm talking about things that are inanimate but look human.
Oh, fair.
So so not necessarily the Pirates of the Caribbean ride at Disney.
No, I mean that's uncomfortable. But it's like it started as a child with clowns because I saw the Tim Curry It when I was way too young, and my sister tormented me with that, and I'd be in the playroom and she would throw red balloons downstairs and scare the shit out of me. And then I don't like cartoon characters that look happy all all the time, but that's the way their face stays. But like ultimately, the uncanny valley it was come up by like these Japanese like scientists and stuff like that, robotics experts and like a psychologist. And it's a line graph, and it measures your level of human revulsion. It measures the level of revulsion when exposed to human-like stimuli. So it's like everybody's a little creeped out when they see something that is not human but looks real close.
Right. Because it's just our natural reaction.
Because they don't blink, and it's just uncomfortable. Yeah.
Wow.
So that is my biggest thing is anything like that. I won't go to Old Navy because their mannequins have heads and it creeps me out.
Interesting.
Well,
I mean,
I know that's weird, but like it's actually more common than you think. But a lot of people have like fears of clowns and puppets and things like that. But they like mine is all encompassing.
Have you ever seen the movie Westworld?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, like bring that up.
Yeah. Huh?
Sorry. Or the movie Mannequin. No,
yeah.
Hollywood. I love Mannequin. That was a great movie.
Yeah, I actually just watched that for the first time like a few weeks back because it was on HBO Max, and I was like, and you know, I like Yul Brynner because of like the Ten Commandments and shit like that. So I was like, you know what, I want to see this. I've never watched it, and I was like, what the fuck? And honestly, I think Crichton rewrote the story with dinosaurs because it's essentially the same thing. It's a theme park that goes fucked up.
Fair enough.
So is Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
I know. I blame my sister for all that just because, like, and that's why, I mean, I go to Gore Club and I'll watch them, but, like, any of those old movies, like the It movies, the Puppet Master movies, Chucky, any of that shit, I blame on my fucking sister because she made me watch them real young and then would tell me my toys crawl on me when I'm asleep. Like she scared the shit out of me as a kid.
Spiders crawl in your mouth while you're sleeping. Well, that's if your biggest fear is spiders, fuck you.
No, because of that, I was never a baby doll kid. I didn't I had these porcelain dolls my grandmother gave me. I went and put them in the basement. Like, I don't like that shit.
Okay, fair.
I don't know.
That is, you know, I go into customers' houses.
I'm not gonna cry. I'm just upset.
I go into customers' houses all the time, and I get it. That is a fucked up thing to walk into a room and something just sitting there being like, it's like, fuck that.
Yeah.
Especially when you like turn on
No. Yeah, no, he did. It's because my
Take the Aussie tape out.
No,
Take the Aussie
God,
tape
no, Teddy
out.
Ruxpin. That is another one too. Is because my cousin had a Teddy Ruxpin. And I remember that the batteries would start to die, but then it would come on in the middle of the night, and it would just because the batteries would die, and it sounded demonic.
I'm not gonna
that
lie,
scared.
That was creepy.
It scared the shit out of me. So I would take it and I'd go throw it in the backyard, and my aunt would be like, "Why the fuck is there a Teddy Ruxpin in the yard?" Like it came alive.
Aren't we coming up with the idea for a new spinoff of Teddy Ruxpin that's like heavy metal Teddy Ruxpin that's made
Eddie Ruxpin, like from Iron.
Oh shit! That's it.
That
we have organically come up with $1 million idea. Edit this shit out.
So what about you?
My biggest
Aaron?
fear, probably being buried alive. Seems like a terrible way to go.
Yeah.
God damn, at least give me a bell to ring.
Yeah, claustrophobia is a close one for
Man,
me.
I don't know. I've always
like the ghost story about the guy whose wife put a phone in with him. You ever hear that ghost story? Yeah, he wanted to be buried with a phone because he had a fear of being buried alive.
Yeah.
He ended up getting his wife got a call one night and it sounded like him. And when they exhumed the body, the phone was off the hook.
Damn.
Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun. Scary stories to tell in the dark.
No shit. It's crazy stuff. Yeah, being buried alive, that would be terrible.
Yeah, man. I have two brothers and one older, and I played football in high school, and like we always wrestled and stuff, and just like I never liked being pinned down. So being at the bottom of a football pile, like, you know.
Oh yeah.
I hated that, and I was like, oh my God, can you imagine being buried alive and you're just stuck pinned down, knowing you're gonna run out of oxygen sooner or later, like.
Yeah. Claustrophobia is a close one for that.
Just the anxiety of it before you fucking actually die seems terrible. Like, God, if I'm going to die, let that happen quick.
Right. I got lost in the tunnels at a Discovery Zone when I was a kid, and I couldn't find my way out, and ever since then I've been claustrophobic.
You have, the stories that are so traumatic for you, and I'm an asshole because I keep laughing.
No, they're funny.
It's like all your trauma comes from a place of almost funny, but I can see why it's kind of traumatic.
And it's fine, but I was a neurotic ass child, so I mean, there's that.
Have you ever seen Gremlins?
Oh,
yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
don't feed Beth
it's
after
the reason why she hates Christmas is because her dad fell down the chimney and they, you know what I'm saying? It's getting lost in the tubes at the Discovery Zone. It's why I'm claustrophobic now.
Gremlins is a Christmas movie.
It is.
It is.
So is what? Die Hard?
Die Hard's a Christmas movie?
Die Hard's a Christmas movie. Hell yeah.
Yeah. Not only does it take place over Christmas, but Die Hard 2 takes place over the same, like Christmas week or Thanksgiving week.
Yeah.
So, yeah, because it's snowing and shit in that one. So.
All that movie ever made me want was a Steyr-Og.
Beer or whiskey?
Whiskey.
Come on. Definitely fucking bourbon.
Well, yeah.
Bourbon. Everybody from Kentucky has said that. Bourbon.
But we're also
I'm that guy. Your best beer is not as good as the worst bourbon. And fuck your IPAs. Shit's gross.
Yeah, it's gross.
I'm not an IPA fan.
Stop bitter stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
We are both tequila fans, though.
Listen, I chase my bullet with Espolón, and I very regularly drink Magbar out of both of those bottles. In fact, I just did it last week.
You still need to get them to order some Lucha.
Yeah, he
Lucha,
was like,
Lucha,
dude,
whatever
you
it's
drank
called.
us out of Espolón and Bullet again. I'm like, well, order more, motherfuckers. You think y'all have caught on by now.
Right. Definitely.
Hey everybody, let me tell you about the new sponsor to the Metal Forge, Unchained Tapes. They're an independent Pennsylvania tape label. They focus on extreme metal and punk with a killer approach to the tape scene. Visit their web store at unchainedtapes.bigcartel.com now to get your fill of tapes. And for being a Metal Forge listener, enter the code METALFORGE10 at checkout to get a 10% discount on your total purchase. That's unchainedtapes.bigcartel.com. Hey, let me tell you guys about Mercenary Press. They're an independent London label and distributor of all things metal. Mercenary Press delivers the goods from their own independent zine. Trust me, you're going to want to get in on that. To distributing various bands from all over the world, including Cramp from Spain and Sadistic Force from Texas. Visit mercenarypress.bigcartel.com to find out what all they have in stock and what you can order. And for Metal Forge listeners, enter the code METALFORGE to receive a discount on your total purchase at mercenarypress.bigcartel.com. Check it out now.
What is something you've always wanted to do, but you're not coordinated enough to do?
Everything.
Come on, you go.
Ask him. I'm accident prone as shit.
You go hiking though, and when I want to go hiking, I feel like I have two left feet.
Yeah.
So that's my answer for that. It's hiking. So yeah. What do you feel like you want to do, but you have two left feet when it comes to it?
I've never been able. I always wanted to water ski or ski just in general. I've never been able to do that. I always fall on my face.
I was going to kind of say the same thing. I go to the lake a lot. I've got a couple of jet skis, so I'm always I try to live at the lake. If I'm not on tour, I either want to be hiking somewhere by a lake or laying my ass in the lake.
Definitely.
Yeah, so I always see people water skiing and doing all these water sports, and I've got a fake knee too, so now I'm just like, we ain't risking it for that biscuit.
Right.
So, yeah, kind of the same, like water skiing and water sports.
Right on.
Yeah.
Definitely. What's your biggest pet peeve?
Oh, I can tell you that real easy. People who say it must be nice when you tell them something good that you're doing. Listen, you passive-aggressive, salty piece of shit. It is nice, and I worked really hard to do these nice things. So quit being sad that you don't like your life as much as you like mine.
Must be nice.
I gotta say it with you, it's always in jest. But so for me, like I have a lot of pet peeves. Like I said, I'm a neurotic person, but like for me, it's like I'm 4'11". Do not pat me on the head. Don't use me as an armrest.
Well, that's just bullshit.
No, it's like because they'll come up and be like, "Hey," and then put their fucking elbow on my shoulder.
I can see.
It's annoying.
Yeah,
it's annoying. It's annoying. It's
annoying.
annoying.
It's annoying and gross.
Yeah,
Ugh.
I don't like being. It's very. I find it extremely patronizing. I don't like it.
I had somebody walk up to me at a show a while back where they they were just like standing there and it smelled like onions.
Oh, it's rough.
So bad. Sorry.
Why does it smell like a White Castle walked in the building?
Never go there again. Thanks for ruining it. Must be nice. You ruined it. Yeah, that's just bullshit, though. Nobody needs to do that.
No, but it hasn't happened as much as an adult, but probably because I buy the most impractical heels on the planet now and wear them just about everywhere I go.
But them shits look fire.
Yeah,
right.
They look good. They shape my calves and my ass. But I will tell you, I'm going to see my foot and ankle doctor because my foot's been fucked since Vegas. I'm pretty sure I have a bunion from wearing those stupid ass shoes the whole time.
Vegas was fucking.
It was.
You just said an old person word.
I did.
A bunion.
I did. I got the arthritis.
The diabetes.
But no, it's like it happened more when I was growing up because I've always been small and it gets on my nerves. I don't like it.
Definitely. What is your most unpopular music opinion?
Ghost.
You got me there.
This is real easy. The fact that she likes Ghost and forever. Fuck the Beatles. I don't like pop music. I don't really like boy bands. Thanks for giving us boy bands. Your music sucks. Acid didn't even make you good. Next.
Wow.
All I have to say is
I know. Trust me. Don't at me.
Dude.
Fuck.
I don't like Aerosmith.
I'm so tired of arguing. I've been arguing
What's
this
that?
since I was 15.
I'm not a big fan of post-70s Aerosmith either.
Oh.
And I know that's...
Yeah.
I even, when I was like 22, my older brother Joe could not believe that I don't like the Beatles because he loves the Beatles. I sat down with him, ate some acid, gave the White Album a good run through. No.
It's very hit or miss.
Yeah.
There's good song. To me, there are good songs on there.
Yeah.
But there are far more bad songs on there than good songs.
I just can't with the Beatles.
And to me, they're a very hit or miss band.
Yeah.
I mean,
You're not the first
I
person
just
I've
feel
heard
like
say
they're
that.
the first version of fucking NSYNC.
Just with more LSD.
Yeah.
and at least they could play instruments. At least they could play.
I mean, fair.
Yeah.
Fair.
That is.
That's
And
something
respect to John Lennon because he was a good person.
Right.
You know.
And so
At
is
least
George
he tried.
Harrison.
Oh, absolutely. I still want to buy that box set. The All Things Must Pass.
You're just never going to hear
just
me
came
listening
out.
to them in my car. And people ask me what band I hate the least, and I tell them the Beatles, and I get so much hate for it. I'm almost sad I just said it on here.
No, you're good, man.
That's fine. You're not the first. Travis is the same. I know several people that are like that.
Definitely.
But
It's not like Devin Harper, not like in the Deftones. Like, ugh,
Of course
what a
we had to bring
shit
that up.
trash opinion.
Fuck you, Devin.
Yeah, fuck you, Devin.
Probably won't listen to this.
He was
but-
like, really? You're going to say this every time we're at the bar and you're even going to bring it up on podcast? I'm like, I wasn't planning. It just happened organically.
Right. So basically what you do is you tag him in a post with it just so that he does listen.
We should
to
say we
him.
mentioned his band or something like that.
Yeah, I'll be. Well,
Nice.
I actually do tour management for Bowels, so
Okay.
you know, Bowels HC. Go see them shits on Instagram as well.
Definitely.
Tell Devin his trash opinion about the Deftones sucks on my page.
Got a couple more here. What album is an absolute playthrough? What can you put on, listen to it front to back?
Danzig's Lucifuge. And that's what really sold me on fucking Vegas this year. Or for Psycho this year. That's a big one for me. And it has been since high school.
Nice.
Black Sabbath. We sold our souls for rock and roll.
Not an album. That's a compilation.
It counts.
It's a greatest hits.
Does that not count?
Yeah,
No,
that's,
come on.
that's a gray area, Aaron.
And it's a greatest hits.
Yeah.
If British Steel, for example.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Sorry, I don't mean to bust your balls on that. But
All right. I'll give you that one.
dude, that would be like me saying ZZ Top's greatest hits.
Which I have on vinyl.
Right. Which is a really great album. I
I thought you posted the picture of the best of.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, you put me on the spot.
Yeah, it's what it's all about.
Album, if you just run.
I also like the Cars self-titled, but that's not very metal to say.
That's fine though. I mean, hey, that's what it's about.
Doesn't have to be
Doesn't-
a metal.
No,
album?
it doesn't have to be.
Well, let's
Dude,
take
it
a
could-
hard left here.
It could be live at Folsom Prison.
East 1999. Bone Thugs and Harmony.
Oh,
Every song on that is a banger.
definitely. Don't get a lot of.
People are gonna be like, really? Yeah, this is a metal podcast.
Hey, no, people give me all kinds of answers for that stuff. You
People
know,
who only listen to metal are boring anyway. You gotta have variety.
That's true. That's why, this might be the Metal Forge, but, we're equal opportunity here. We like punk, we like thrash, we like everything. We play both types, country and western.
Oh, okay then. Those are definitely my two favorites.
Right? A little bit of Blues Brothers there.
I like the old outlaw country. I'm not going to say that I don't.
Right.
I do like old outlaw country. Listen, if I'm at the lake and you get enough drinks in me, I'll sing Garth Brooks.
Speaking of which, you still need to get your Amigo ticket, homie.
Oh, shit. Remind me in a little while.
Definitely. Got one more question, but before we do, as always, links will be listed below so you can give a like, share, a follow. Remember, this show is October the 23rd at 1512 Portland, also known as Portal. Come out and see it. I'll tag a picture of the flyer to the show where you've got general admission is $12, $15, and that's pre-sale. $15 at the door. VIP is $25 per individual or $800 per table.
Yep. We only have 2 of those VIP tables left as well. They're going like hotcakes.
Bam! Listen to that. And it is Babes of Metal 4, an evening with macabre music and brutal burlesque. Yeah. I love the flyer, by the way.
Thank you.
Awesome.
I did it.
I really, when she sent it to me, she sent me 2 different variations, and I was like, oh, this 100 fucking percent.
Yeah. It's rad as shit.
It is. It really is. It's going to look great up on that billboard on 65 at the Kentucky Fair and Exposition Center. Be looking for them shits.
Hell yeah.
Yes.
Do you have any shout-outs you want to give to anybody before we go today?
I just want to shout out to all my ladies. I'm not going to name them one by one, but definitely, I guess there's 2 in particular. Definitely Heather Lowry and Courtney Markham. They've been with me since the beginning. And they're my homies. They're some of my ride or die bitches, but I love all my girls equally, and I'm excited to be working with them this year. And shout out to this guy for helping me with stuff, and to Emily Dixon over at Portal, who's been working with us really closely and been really accommodating. So,
I mean, clearly, I'm going to shout out the boys. Toxic Run, Artwork for the Blind, Bat Wizard. We got a hell of a lineup this year with a great, troupe of burlesque ladies doing awesome shit in betwixt.
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah. Well, awesome. Final question of the day here is, what album changed your life?
I think for me, it would have to be Ride the Lightning, because I have an older brother, my older brother Joe. I was into, oh God, I'm going to tell this on the fucking podcast. So there's this joke, and anytime we hear We Built This City, my brother will die laughing because that was my favorite song as a kid. I mean, I wore that song out as like a 6-year-old. And I remember a couple years later, Joe was like, that's not rock and roll. He's like, let me introduce you to heavy metal. And I'll never forget, he had that same banner that you have of Master of Puppets. Yeah. He had the Ride the Lightning.
Hell yeah.
That's what covered his door in his room in the basement. I just always remember seeing that banner, and that's one of the first albums he played for me. And that was like the album that kind of really got me into that heavy metal.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So this was the which metal album changed your life, or just which album?
Yeah, which album changed your life?
Definitely, I would say, because as much as I would like to say it was a metal album, I'm going to say Dirt by Alice in Chains.
I have that album.
Because that was
in the truck right now.
That was one that definitely helped. I mean, my dad raised me on all the dad rock, the CCR, the AC/DC, all that stuff. But he was also an old metalhead too, so all the Iron Maiden and the Sabbath. But that one somehow, that was the first one I definitely could listen to all the way through, because that was when I was starting to come into my formative years as a child, and definitely felt like I could relate to some of that stuff, and it definitely felt like that brought me and my dad closer musically, and I was able to open up more and learn more about who he was, because you've seen him. He looks like a fucking normal ass person now, but I asked him once, how tight were your jeans in the 70s? He's like, a lot tight, very, very, very tight. And long hair, you see it. He got mistaken as a woman all the time because his hair was long. He looked like a very different person.
Man, I remember having long hair.
But
me too.
Definitely, because that one definitely veered me into the more alternative music, and even if it was grunge, but brought me and my dad close, and all that, and we recommend stuff to each other. Even though I found a Linkin Park CD and a Disturbed CD in his den, and I'm like, what's this? We need an intervention, Dad.
I'd have to say, if there's one more notable mention for an album that changed my life, it would probably have to be Bloody Kisses, because that's where I found LSD.
Right.
LSD changes everybody's life for the better.
Definitely. So, Aaron, thank you so much. Beth, thank you so much for coming on the Metal Forge this week. Super rad times, as always. Again, give a like, a share, and a follow. And
yeah, and one more shout out. It's like follow us on Facebook, Harlots and Hellions. Yeah.
Absolutely.
With all the show updates and whatnot.
Instagram.com, Lit as Fuck Promotions.
Absolutely. And so, with today being the 8th of October, this show is the 23rd. So, be out there if you're in the Louisville, Kentucky area.
Rock on.
Rock it.
It's called Air Jammer. Get ready to start up the night. We don't care if we get into a fight. At the gym, turn your wrestling loud. Finish that smoke and get in the crowd. The dance floor is filled with dudes. We don't care, we don't follow the rules. We are the last and we die and breathe. And there are girls trying to hand in a sheet. Beat and booze. Gets me loose. Don't the hammer. You all air jammer. Next morning, get out of my bed. Finally, I can feel my head. Don't tell me I'm the man you need. Because of love, I'm built to speak. Beat and bruise. Gets me loose. Don't the hammer. Don't care where you're jammer. Back on the road, feeling good. I live my life, baby, like I should. What would I want? A normal life. See the door every 9 to 5. Beat and bruise. Gets me loose. Don't hammer. Don't care where you're jammer. Poison speak, that's all you need. Beat and bruise, gets me loose. Don't the hammer, don't care your air jammer. Alright, you make us feel real good over there. Thanks for having us. Thanks a million. Thanks for coming out. We're Poison Speed, and that's all you need.
Hey, thank you all for tuning into this week's episode of The Metal Forge. I want to take a minute to remind you guys about the Patreon page. Over on the Patreon page, we have the tiers set up to support the production of the show. We feature the Down and Dirty, which is just $1. There's nothing special for that one, it just sends me a thank you, because every dollar helps. Then there's the Double Down and Dirty. Much akin to the Down and Dirty tier, everything helps produce the show in the end. You make your presence known, and I appreciate that more than you realize. Thank you for being a dedicated friend and supporter of the Metal Forge. By selecting that tier, you will receive some cool Metal Forge stickers in your mailbox. Now, we're really going to start pounding the metal madness with the Apprentice Metalhead for just $5 a month. By becoming an Apprentice Metalhead, you'll be given early access to the shows, published 24 hours before everyone else gets it. You're also going to receive 3 entries in any contest that we do here at the Metal Forge. You're also going to receive a 10% discount on all Metal Forge merch, and you're going to receive a sweet Metal Forge patch for your battle jacket or backpack. And now, here is the big one. This is the Master Metalhead for just $10 a month. By becoming a Master Metalhead, you will receive a hand-numbered Metal Forge Master Metalhead membership card. You're going to be given early access to the shows as well, with 36 hours before everyone else. You're going to receive 5 entries in any contest that we do here at the Metal Forge. You'll be able to submit audio questions that I will use on the show of you asking questions to the upcoming guests. Remember, timing is everything, and you will need to keep up with the upcoming guest list on the website. You're also going to receive advanced knowledge of any new merch coming out and be given a 25% discount on all Metal Forge merch. And you're also going to get all of the other rewards from the other tiers. So visit patreon.com/Metal Forge Radio today and help support the Metal Forge. Rock on.